What's up, Outlaws? The Lotus is here with that long-awaited and requested review of Destiny 2 in its current state. I'm also finding myself with an unexpected gloat of free time, so there will actually be a few videos this weekend to kind of catch up on what I owe the lot of you. I'm looking at you, Brother Hal. Sorry, bro. So this weekend, we're going to talk about the Destiny 2 Year 3 midterm review. This is going to kind of be the glass half empty version. I will do a glass half full version tomorrow. There's a reason for that, because I want y'all to see kind of two perspectives of this, rather than issuing your time to the 1% YouTubers out there with six-figure subscribers. I want you to see what the little guy sees in this game. But can you believe that Destiny 2 is turning 4 this fall? Yeah, me neither. It's had its ups and downs for sure, but none arguably so low as that rather mediocre launch year. But where does it stand now? Well, the narrative. Okay, so this past fall, Destiny 2 saw its latest expansion, Shadowkeep, drop into the hands of its players. The expansion itself is not the franchise's weakest narrative, but when you pull in all the seasonal content in with it, it actually falls pretty short of even Destiny 2's first year, as both Curse of Osiris and Warmind sported pretty fleshed out narratives. As usual, however, this year has been chock full of lore that can be found all across all of its mediums, be that via completing its content, picking up weapons, ships, sparrows, or chewing through the vast array of triumphs that your Guardian has the option to complete. Even with that, though, Year 3 of Destiny 2 seemed to stray pretty far off course from the original narrative that finally expressed the full gravity of the darkness that threatens our Guardian's immortal light, only having recently used Season of the Worthy's Seraph Bunker content to remind us of the impending doom at the edge of our solar system. But between last fall and now, the year in hindsight has been full of filler. And I haven't had as large a percentage of friends quit the game since the new game enhancements hoodwinked the Star Wars Galaxies community in November of 2005, but that's a whole story for another video. Suffice it to say, story has not been the strong point of Year 3's content, and it only earns 2 out of 5 points for me. And that's not the only thing that's keeping people away from the game. Gameplay. So let's get the big negative out of the way for Year 3. It's been on everyone's mind so much that it finally caught the attention of the team. But we'll save what they're doing to address it for the next video. Bounty fatigue is a real thing. There exists this repetitious tedium of routines that kicks off every week once the narrative of each expansion is completed. It's existed ever since the game launched. Most haven't realized it till recently. You roam the tower, you visit Zavala, Shaxx, Banshee, the Drifter, and so forth, and you gather up your bounties for weekly and daily completion, and only then do you set out with your friends, or on your own, to play. This has been going on for nearly 4 years. It's fucking boring, Bungo. Thanks for finally noticing. People are actually getting so fed up with this that they're just moving on. So unlike Season of the Drifter, where you made a choice that let you side with the Drifter or with the Vanguard, none of the content this season has actually felt like it mattered much, if at all. Sure, rescuing Saint 14 was neat. The community puzzle that only a fraction actually got to participate in would have actually been cool if everyone could have contributed their equal share, and the exotic wasn't one already on the development roadmap. Sundial was cool, I guess. It's just basically Menagerie out in the open, hot sun of Mercury. As are the Seraph Towers, but it all feels scripted, you know? None of this felt like any kind of content that would have had a different outcome if the player base had just decided not to show up and do anything with it. The world-ending crises were averted each time, and we will undoubtedly blast the latest threat into smithereens just in time for this current season to end. Given the push-pull elements that the Dredgens versus the Vanguardians represent, you would really think there'd be a little bit more creativity in the development process while watching the metrics of those two demographics since we marched on from Season of the Drifter. Now, the exotic weapons this year have actually been pretty good, and each have offered their own unique spin on gunplay. You got a kinetic fusion rifle that's essentially an assault shotgun. You have a 4-barreled shotgun that fires like you literally launched an ICBM from your bare hands. You got a sidearm that has a freaking laser on it. You got a Tommy gun that catches fire. And you got a motherfucking minigun. Seriously, who hasn't ever wanted to be the Terminator? Exotic armor, on the other hand, while creative, has been pretty much broken all season. But hey, at least they haven't been broken in favor of PvP. Now, one of the neatest elements of this season has actually been the new Nightfall Strikes and Nightmare Hunts. Powered by the elements of the darkness, some of your enemies now sport champions in their ranks, who have the ability to generate an impenetrable barrier, overload their bodies to heal and spam abilities, or become literally unstoppable as they charge you and run you over. And the only way to stop these traits is by equipping your weapons with mods to counter them, resulting in those enemies having their barriers shattered, their overload suppressed, or their unstoppable charges staggered. This latest season offered up the same type of gameplay in the form of legendary lost sectors, which, while difficult, demanded even more attentive tactics and some ironclad patience. So in summary, the exotic weapons, decent overall gameplay, and the fun new challenges and champion enemies save the gameplay somewhat from being a total fail, but it only really earns a 3 out of 5. Balance. Bungie had finally gotten so close with PvP balance. With their nerfs to the lambasted one-eyed mask and so many others that were long overdue, Titans now had to obey the laws of physics and recognize that inertia was an actual thing, and not a mere suggestion that they could just bypass with a lunge of their electrified shoulder, void-powered shield, or flaming hammer of go fuck yourself. But with the release of Shadowkeep and moving Destiny 2 to Steam, they also made the game free to play. Why is this a problem? Hackers. If you've played Trials of Osiris or any serious PvP this year, you've already met the occasional aimbot, wall hacker, or DDoSer. A few even pop up in Gambit from time to time, but they're far more prevalent in Gambit Prime, likely due to completion farming, than anywhere else. This malaise pervaded over the competitive scene so quickly that almost every major Destiny 2 YouTuber covered it and even got the hashtag paywall to trend on Twitter for a while. Why? Because even if a Steam user gets their Destiny 2 access banned, they'll just load up another account and repeat the process all over again. And this cycle repeats itself indefinitely, since there is no pay entry that fatigues the wallets of these bots, cheaters, and carrier services. This is primarily a problem on PC, because consoles are harder to achieve the same sophistication of hacking necessary to infect the competitive realm with their fun-sucking habits. So you have to pay the PlayStation or Xbox service to actually play those competitive playlists. You don't on Steam. While I applaud Bungie's attempts to thwart PC hackers, you have to put the competitive playlist behind some kind of paywall, or this problem will only continue to get worse and people will continue to quit for something else. The hacking problem is so bad that I don't even want to bother addressing how poorly executed Trials of Osiris and its bounty system was. I played during its launch weekend, got my fill of it, never got flawless, and I said to hell with it. The hacking issue is so bad, in fact, that I hardly even cared past the initial, ooh, nice job, Bungo, feeling that I got when they nerfed Hardlight, which was this year's last word. A giant auto rifle of light doom. Yeah, it's a fun gun, but it, I was being mapped with a fucking auto rifle. So because of this, I can't honestly give balance higher than a 1 until hackers are cold a bit. Alright, Eververse. So the Eververse, basically the purchase store, like any other microtransaction system in live service games, it's always been in kind of an odd spot. Destiny 2 has never been a game to really offer up any kind of gameplay advantage through its microtransactions, which makes me pretty happy. I'm more than willing to shell out some money once in a while for some cosmetics or things that make my Guardian stand out and express the image that I want to show the community. And, Brother Hal can tell you, a couple friends I play with can tell you that I feel a lot like Young Yeah in how I see microtransactions, so for me to not despise the way Destiny 2 does it means it's not too bad. But one of the biggest flaws has always been the price of some of these cosmetic sets and the association they have to core elements of the game. So rather than largely be their own separate thing with their own separate design elements, many cosmetics in this game share a lot of themes with gambit, strikes, or even essential design cues from content we already paid for. Myself and many others have often disapproved of this approach, as it really just seems to be in bad taste. But over the last year, I have offered Bungie the benefit of the doubt, as they not only had to buy their way out of the relationship with Activision Blizzard, they had to survive on their own as they charted their own path. So to that end, I often found myself a little more generous when buying silver to spend on Guardian swag, and knowing that at no point did any of my purchasable options offer me a gameplay advantage over those with less in their wallets, I found myself despising the microtransaction system of Destiny 2 a lot less than so many other games, which actually earns this category a 4 out of 5, because it's really not that bad, and Bungie needs to make a little money. So final thoughts and grade. With a total of 10 points across 4 categories on a 5-point system, Destiny 2 as a spring of year 3 earns at best a 2.5 overall. This is basically a D+. There's a lot of work ahead for the development team to address, and thankfully they are planning to do a lot to address it. In tomorrow's Glass Half Full video, we will discuss the latest This Week in Bungie, or TWAB, as it's known to the community, and we will take a peek at what's to come on the horizon of Destiny 2, and consider whether or not Bungie deserves a second chance from me after stumbling so much in their first year running solo. Thanks for watching. Until next time, keep quick drawn and slack John. Outlaw Lotus, out. Hey, thanks for watching the channel. If you want to help out, drop a like or a sub, support me on Patreon, or check me out on Twitter.